Great, Lorenzo, welcome to our series of meeting successful entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. I know that you have a very busy day, which means very busy weeks, so your time is very precious. And I don't want to waste time introducing you to the people, so I will let you introduce yourself and what you're doing, and we will take it from there.
Okay. Well, firstly, thanks for organizing this new talk show, should I say. Yeah, it's inspiring. So I suppose truly hoping to boost the Greek mindset about entrepreneurship and opportunities between Israel and Greece as well. Yeah, so great stuff.
Let's see what will be at the end. Talk to us about yourself. I know you have a very interesting story.
About myself. What's interesting?
What do you do? About your business mainly?
Of course. I believe everybody's got stories to tell. Our story in a nutshell is that we have done everything ourselves, organically, you name it. And, there's not great stuff to talk about as much as there is bad stuff to talk about, how difficult it's been. But I think over time, persistence is what brings us here today. Artlimes has been running for 5 years. And we now have our parent company, Emvelia Technologies, which is overlooking all of our spin-offs and products and also selective services to clients. So our story is that we set base in the UK and open a subsidiary in Greece, a technical office, practicing methodologies you'd see in Silicon Valley or in the UK, very UK oriented, I suppose. Yeah, so Kelly and myself are the founders of Artlimes, and I have to say it's been a long ride, so we'd be here for a few hours.
Tell us a bit about Artlimes. What do you do there?
Artlimes is a global marketplace with the purpose of democratizing art, design, and collectibles as we know them. So physical and digital goods to be traded safely online with certification and the whole ecosystem that you would need to run such a business. So transactions, foreign exchange, banking systems, it needs to flow. So Artlimes was built to simplify buying and selling art, design, and collectible items for artists, galleries, collectors, and lately luxury retailers. So these guys have had major issues over COVID. Not that, I suppose the whole industry had issues, but many had more than others. So retailers in the luxury business, they didn't have a platform to actually go to and set up a shop and kind of feel part of it. You couldn't really address it on Amazon or Etsy or eBay. It just doesn't work for them. So Artlimes covers that gap, in the market.
Can I ask you something about Artlimes that is interesting to me, at least? To my knowledge, there was in the past, of course not in Greece, several attempts for people trying to do what you did, trying to put online making like the sale of art online. And most of the cases that I know, if not all of them, were a complete disaster. What do you think that you did differently, or why in your case it worked and on the others, many others, in the States mainly, didn't? What did you see? What did you find?
I think it's got to do with your product. So building platforms is one thing, but creating trends, communities, and in the back of it, in fact, in the front of it, it's all about buying and selling. But that alone just creates this sense of a social online community. So we've achieved that, and it's growing, and it's great. So yeah, this is where we're at.
So you created the product, the platform, and the next thing you did was to create a community before you start selling, or you started selling and you built a community? What, the chicken and the egg, maybe?
Yeah, the chicken egg situation. When you start a marketplace, you have two sides. You have the sellers and you have the buyers. It's a two-sided strategy. It's heavy, it's lengthy, it takes time. So we started with nothing. So there was no product. And obviously we had to find the sellers first, which we did, spend a few years doing just that, while we also built the platform. So now we're at the stage where, there's thousands of sellers, there's thousands of products and hundreds being added every day. So now it's all about, the new trend of digital assets, NFT, collectibles that are taking a new form, like going from e-commerce to d-commerce, digital commerce.
Okay, so I understand that in your case, the COVID period helped you boost your sales and everything, or is that true?
The COVID period, I think, helped platforms definitely do sales, but also show that, especially in the art sector, people are very reluctant. So it's not for me. Now, our role is to simplify this, and obviously everybody needs to put something in their space, right? Whether it's in the living room or in the office. But now you also have the digital side of things, okay? So people love to invest in digital assets. So Artlimes will cover the whole spectrum, and again, simplify the process of beautifying your space rather than going to IKEA, buying a Brooklyn Bridge.
The same Brooklyn Bridge that you've seen in 15 other places.
Yeah, Williamsburg Bridge, it's always the same. So,
Lorenzo, take us a little bit back in the beginning of Artlimes. How did you come up? It was an idea, you saw a gap in the market. How did you, I'm trying to understand, if there is a problem, how did you identify the problem? How did you go from, okay, I see a gap or a problem and I have an idea to fill it, and then did you speak to customers, potential customers? You just did something and you expected them to come and see what you've built? Take us a little bit in the beginning of the whole idea.
The idea is quite simple. There is a huge gap in the art, design, and crafts spaces, and people don't necessarily feel comfortable buying a Picasso online. That's one thing, but there's a whole bunch of other people who don't know where to go to buy something. But what we do on top of that, sure, you can buy stuff, is the certification that gives value. So it's something that becomes tradable as a physical asset or as a digital asset. So not only, there's a gap about the aesthetics of it all, but there's also a lack of, there is no other marketplace that would host artists, galleries, and retailers together, given that they all cover the same space, you know, whether it's paintings or jewelry. So it's all about the curation. So we curate stuff, we help our users, you know, so there's an element of community support, and the fact is that all of these users really need a platform that is definitely safe to do business, but also with good user experience. So, you know, Artlimes is a market.
Sorry to interrupt. Explain to us a little bit, how did you build your MVP? How did you come up with your first version of Artlimes? Okay, you see the gap, fine, and then what do? You start building. I know you are a developer yourself, so.
Yeah, well, you need to be a bit of a developer one way or another if you start from scratch. The gap was definitely there, given that, you know, I was always in the arts and was inspired by the French graffiti scene in the 90s. And given a few auctions, a few shows, especially in the UK, it's obvious that galleries cannot sell enough. Artists are dependent on galleries, and retailers are solely offline. So how do you know, put it all together? Was difficult. So we had to start by offering, you know, an MVP that would do what it should do, at least for the sellers to be able to add content, and then eventually start building on top of that. So imagine the first page was just coming out soon, sign up. But year on year, we continued to build. So ultimately, 5 years on, as of this year, really, we consider Artlimes stable, fast, safe, definitely for all these kinds of users.
Did you speak to potential customers before you start building something, or you just started building?
Yeah, definitely. There was always, look, the truth is when you go and see something or feel it, it's always better, right? But it's the need to do it online. You can't always travel, right? From Japan to the States to Europe to see things. So the ability to do it online, you know, and if you don't like it, return it, fine. I think is a great opportunity, you know, for all the sellers to be able to sell globally, but also for any sort of non-connoisseur or collector to access more, you know, tradable items.
With whom did you speak? You have a two-way market. You said you have the sellers and the buyers. Before you start building Artlimes MVP, did you speak with buyers, with sellers, with both of them? How did it go?
We spoke with both sides a lot. Everybody's got their own. The difficulty is when you try to accommodate a lot of sellers, you have different seller types. So obviously everybody has got their own needs, and it makes it quite difficult. But at the center of it, it's all about selling. So we started with just about selling, and now we accommodate, you know, the necessary filters for jewelry or for paintings, the visualizations. So it starts taking shape, and obviously we can expand in other areas as well.
Okay, so the MVP came from the interviews that you had with your potential customers from both sides, rather than I have an idea, right?
Yeah, exactly. We had to satisfy some, and we now have a feedback link on the header of the website. So, you know, we get all sorts of feedback. You know, it's a good way to just catch anything about anything at any time. So it's mostly bad stuff, but it works because that's exactly what we need.
I think it's more vital to receive something like this link doesn't work or I cannot buy this painting, rather than, oh, great guys, you're doing a good job. This, I think, other than, it's nice to hear or nice to read, it doesn't really help you, right? Does it work? The feedback button, does it work?
It does.
The response, you see people wanting to give back feedback, so they in a way they will improve your platform.
Yeah, indeed. That's exactly it. It does work. I think everybody should have a feedback button that is easy to access. Everybody's got bugs and issues. There's always room for improvement. So, it's good to have.
So in the beginning, it's you and Kelly. By the way, Kelly is your wife. When did you have to hire someone? When was the first hire on this 5-year period?
The first hire was 5 years ago. So,
okay.
Yeah, and we decided to do it in Greece. We think Greece has got great minds, great college graduates, and all it was really lacking was the opportunity to work for good companies with mindsets from abroad. So I think Greece now is going through a transition, going into the new kind of how should I say, Silicon Greece, so to speak. And it's good. New companies are opening. People should come back. There's a lot of opportunity now. Everything's digital. I think it's time to boost it.
Being someone from the outside, I have to admit that on one hand, you're absolutely right that everything is digital and everything, so it's easier. On the other hand, there are more things that I believe people are waiting for the Greek government or for Greece in general to fix before they are able to come back. In most cases in Greece, they still pay peanuts. And you know this, you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So you don't want to find yourself surrounded by monkeys. But cool. Let me tell you something. What are you looking? You are hiring for what roles did you hire in the beginning? You hired the developer. That was the first hire.
Indeed, yeah. Development was vital. We started working with Reaction Commerce in California. Now they've been acquired by MailChimp. So it's MailChimp Open Commerce, it's called now. And we created the marketplace itself. So there's a lot of custom software, and we had to create a lot of modules to get to where we are now. So the simplicity of adding new products depending on categories, we had to build the whole transaction system. It's a complex ecosystem, but it's complex because it's safe. So people verify using their IDs. It's a demanding process, setting up shop and selling whatever comes to mind.
So you are a developer, you are hiring a firm, if I understand correct, to help you build the marketplace. So this was less one-time job and faster, I presume, because you are more people working on the same thing. What kind of employees do you have today? Obviously, you have developers, but apart from that, what other people are working for Artlimes?
Curators. It's everything that goes in our public catalog is curated, whether it's about the artwork or the artist, it doesn't matter. So we're making sure there's quality, there's customer support, like that, and marketing as well.
Okay.
So things. that you definitely need. I mean, technically speaking, you need support in all areas. So, but I think these are the key roles.
And all of them are Greeks?
Most of them.
Most
Not
of them.
all of them. Yeah,
Okay.
we're between Greece, the UK, in Prague as well, and in Spain.
What are you looking to see in people that you're hiring? And I'm talking apart from, you know, the skills that you need for the job. Like, okay, if I'm looking for a developer, you have to be a JavaScript developer or whatever. But apart from that, is there something that specific that you're looking? How do you do the hiring?
That's a very, very difficult topic because, yeah, HR is critical. Building a culture is also very important, and it's good to start early. You can start it later, you know, but it's a very, very difficult topic. So definitely, depending on our needs, we hire, but there's a problem in Greece because there's, especially in the last 5 years, there wasn't much talent, right? So it's now that remote is accustomed and everybody feels comfortable. So now it's kind of okay. So we've got people as well around.
But what kind of skills or maybe personality traits are you looking for someone? Okay, let's say you're looking for a developer and I have the technical skills that you are looking for. Is this enough?
Yeah, it's a good start. We do multiple stage interviews and culture is part of it. So definitely the traits that people have need to fit the team and the spirit and the vision of the company. I mean, that stands for any company. So
do you have any tips how to get out? How do you get out of me? I'm here for an interview. How to better understand my personality traits and see if there is a fit between us? Is there a trick or a tip or something?
I mean, you need to be yourself. You can't be forced to be something else. So these things usually come out in interviews, so fine. But then ultimately, it's down to you how much you want to be involved, right? Some people are more involved than others. Some people want to be more successful than others. In a startup world, it's tight and it's difficult and it's demanding, but the benefits are better. So we're definitely looking for people who are, proactive, hardworking, dedicated, and then ultimately rewarded for their work.
How many people are you today?
Right now we're back to 6, and we're looking at sealing our investment round very soon, which will be our seed round essentially. And fingers crossed, all goes well, then we're looking at, increasing the team both in Greece and in the UK.
Okay, what position you might be looking after you secure the funding?
Position as myself.
No. What kind of positions you are looking for? Developers, marketing, curator, something else, sales?
Yeah, positions. Well, there's definitely going to be openings in development, DevOps, that sort of thing. And we're also moving into NFT and cryptos. So there's going to be opportunities there as well. Then definitely marketing, sales, it's that kind of stuff. And I think these are the roles that we will need almost immediately.
Okay, cool. What are the attributes of success. What do you need in order to be successful, you think? Or what did you find out that you need?
You should tell me, so I know. Yeah, successful. There's people have different interpretations of what success means, really. So how big are your goals? Our goals are big, so I can't lie. So when you aim high, it definitely could take longer, which it has. It could be, most definitely will be much harder. So yeah, I think it's down to how successful you really want to be. And success comes with dedication. It comes with some luck, is a very important factor. And yeah, it's really down to the person wanting to. It's a constant learning curve, you know. Things change, just like tech. In a year's time, it will change. So same thing, entrepreneurship, business, all that stuff, you need to adapt. So one day it works, and the other day there's COVID. So what do you do? You know, some people flourish, some don't.
Do you have competitors? Not in Greece necessarily, because you are a global marketplace.
Yeah, everybody has competitors, at least as far as I know, most of them. So we do as well, but we're not about the competition so much, not anymore. Competition is okay because it's always there. So if you worry about the competition, you're just within the sphere of your competition, whether it's, you know, same features or different, it will be within the same spectrum. But we're more about creating new trends, you know, breaking out of the norm. So Artlimes is very free compared to others.
So you keep an eye on the competition, but you don't necessarily follow what they're doing. If I understand.
You follow, but
no, you don't follow. Sorry, I meant, sorry to interrupt you. I meant that you don't do as they do. You keep an eye on them, but let's say at some point they have this crazy feature that you don't see any reason having it. So you don't just follow, okay, these people put, I don't know what, and now you have the need to put it as well.
Yeah, there's leaders, there's pioneers, and then obviously there's settlers. The settlers are the copycats, if you will, but you know, they're the ones who live off of that. But to be a pioneer and a leader is the difficult part. But if you achieve it, then the competition is not as important. It will always be there. So obviously you have to watch it, but it's not about the competition. It's about customers. It's about your product. It's about the value proposition you give to your users. That's what's important. And if you achieve a good understanding around that, then the competition is, you know, it's part of it, but it's not most important.
What is your relationship with your customers? And I'm talking about both of them, because I can understand that you have different relationship with the buyers and the sellers. The buyers are there for the longer run, let's say, while I might come to your site, buy one piece of art, and you never hear back from me. So can you tell us a little bit about the relationships that you've built with your customers?
Yeah, relationships are important. So we're trying to build the community in the back of it all, right, from both sides. And one of the features we launched now, what we're trying to do is do Artlimes more interactive. So there's some new features coming out soon to boost that. And it takes a social aspect. So we want buyers to come in and really get inspired, right? Have a feeling between Pinterest and an Amazon platform, right? Where you actually sell either physical or digital. And Artlimes is that. So definitely helps sell, but it helps people get inspired, interior designers, architects, hoteliers, you name it. You know, everybody has got a sense of aesthetics for one reason or another. So we want Artlimes to be the place where, you know, people will come and just find what they want.
Everywhere I see, everybody is talking about personalization. In some cases, they take it to the extreme of hyper personalization. Do you address it? Do you have a personalized, let's say, it's not a service. Each one that is coming into your site sees the same things, or it's more personal based on what they browsed before or stuff like that? Do you have a personalization factor there?
Yes, definitely. Personalization was always there from the beginning, and personalizing the experience is very important. So reduce the time somebody would spend to find what they want. So we're looking at using AI to do that to an extent, with recommendations and predictions around recommendations and things like that. But ultimately, the basic functionality of personalizing something is, you know, filters, colors, pricing, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But it's very important how you track and understand the user's behavior, and when you understand that, then it's much easier to recommend things.
What are the main principles you follow to build a successful customer relation?
Communication is very important. So we want to build a link of communication between, you know, sellers and buyers, and make it even simpler, even to the point where you could commission something for you, rather than buying something that's already made.
And on what principles do you build the relationship with your customers? Like, I'm coming to Artlimes because I heard about it, I saw it somewhere, and I am a painter, assuming. So what kind of interaction do I have with the site right now? Is everything automated? Upload your work, or obviously you said you have authentication purposes, processes and everything fine. So I passed that. It's me. Thank you. Now I just upload everything that I want to sell, and that's it. Do I speak with someone? Is someone welcoming me the next day? How does it work?
Well, everybody's verified in order to sell. It's free to sell. But buyers, you know, they need to feel safe to buy something, especially if it's of value. So you would put the product information as you would anywhere else, but the fields are very specific, and there's quite a lot of information that can go in a product. And the more information you put, the more credible the product is. So that's one thing. The second level is the level of curation. So everything is moderated. And that's where we, you know, might guide you as a seller to change something or make something better. And that ensures the quality of the product. It's as simple as that, really. There's not much more. Past the verification, it's made easy to start selling. And there's dashboards with statistics, and obviously.
But I'm not in touch with you. I don't talk to you just to feel more welcome or safer or whatever. You as Artlimes, obviously not you personally.
Yeah, of course you can. There's always a chat. You can chat to us and ask anything, or even use the feedback button.
Nice. Lorenzo, what keeps you going in the difficult times?
Family is the most important thing. Everything else will follow. So that's
Something
it.
went wrong. Something went wrong, and now on entrepreneurship, 9 times out of 10, something goes wrong. So, what motivates you to continue? What gives you strength to continue? How do you stay focused on what you're doing? And you're not saying, it doesn't work, because you usually obstacles come in batches. So you might have like a 1 month period where everything is upside down, and you need to navigate with that. So how do you keep going? How do you keep yourself motivated, and you don't say, I think it will never go, it will never happen, and maybe it's a good idea to just close it down and find something else to do?
Yeah, we wouldn't be having this conversation if that was the case, right? I think persistence, again, is very important. Giving up won't get you too far. Not to say that, there are times that you need to quit, and it's obvious that you need to quit, but assuming you executed, or pivoted or did something to make sure that you don't close your business, then it's all about that. And you need to find your motivation. It might be in the business itself, and there needs to be dedication and motivation in the business for sure. You must love what you do, but you need to have a balance, which is also very difficult. And so you need to find your strengths somewhere to keep you going. Like you would run a marathon, you'd need a gallon of water, to say the least, right? And a lot of energy. So we're running marathons in business.
Entrepreneurship is a marathon. Elsa wanted to ask you something, and I don't know if it's still the case.
Yeah. So this is related to what you just mentioned. What keeps, and your question, what keeps you going? So you mentioned that it is family, which is great, but we hear often, I do not know if this is the case, and I put a disclaimer there of my ignorance, that entrepreneurs and startuppers, they behave like prima donnas. So it's very nice to hear that the motivating factor is family, which is something completely down to earth and definitely not a prima donna characteristic. So isn't it also the business, the success, being in the spotlight, a motivating factor? That's my question. And then just a comment, it's not only in the entrepreneurial world that you have this roller coaster, because I've lived it as well. When you change jobs, when you're an employee in the private sector, or you are on a contractual basis, at a certain point, either your contract comes to an end or the company comes to an end. And then you find yourself having to start all over again from sub-zero sometimes. So the feeling of finding your inner strength and this motivating factor is, I think it's quite similar. In my case, it's also my family, the motivating factor that keeps you going at your darkest moments. So that was a comforting, maybe, comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to hear. Very down to earth, if I may say. So the part for the spotlight is, I guess when you're young and restless, it's all about the spotlight and the fame. But everybody gets their lessons one day, and it's good to learn from those lessons. It's not our first venture or our second or our third. So we've come a long way to keep a company going, then creating a new one and then another one. So it's obviously leading somewhere, but the spotlight, I think, would be good for the company. That we'd love to have. We're a bit more modest, so PR and all that stuff is something that you need to do, and network. Yes. Now, if you're successful and you're on the spotlight, then it is what it is. Not a priority.
I presume most entrepreneurs are not on the spotlight, because until you finally make it, which takes time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears, there is no spotlight. You're just somewhere alone in a. If you were in the States, you would be on your dad's garage, because all of the all of the big companies started from a garage all of a sudden over there. That there is no fame, there is no, there is nothing except from you facing failure every day, having maybe your family trying to convince you that, what you're doing is not the right thing to do, and maybe you should do something else. A lot of people see entrepreneurship as not even a proper job. So you have to fight all this. Lorenzo, if you had one piece of advice to someone starting now, you have someone, young Lorenzo, just finished university, what would you advise him to do?
I believe strongly that if you want to do something, you do it quickly enough to see whether that will work or not, rather than thinking about it for years. It's best to just start with something, and when you start with something small, then it's easier to grow it depending on what people need. So I would suggest don't spend too much time thinking about the next solution out there, the next technology, the next product. It's all about just executing your ideas as successfully as possible, or pivoting.
What would you say are the top 3 skills needed to be a successful entrepreneur?
The top 10.
3.
And the top 3, sorry, broke up there.
We are going towards the end. I knew why I'm keeping the question short.
Of course. So the 3 most important tips to be an entrepreneur.
Skills.
Oh, skills. So it broke off there, that's why. So the skills is definitely persistence. It's all about the personal skills. I think knowledge comes in the field. So obviously you need to know your basics, but you can't possibly know everything about a business. So start with a plan and then start working the plan day by day and adjust. So definitely being persistent, organized, and very, very decisive about what you do or don't do, because you don't have the privilege of thinking of it too long, or sometimes you want to try things, so it's better trying a few things and then deciding with what to go, and you need time to do that. So
I would put adaptability instead of organized, because everything is so, everything changes so fast when you are in search of a business model of how do you make this monster that you created make money or everything, that you need to adapt very, very quickly. You don't have the time to, no, let me check again and then again. New situations come like every hour maybe, and you need to be able to adapt. But obviously, to be an organized person is good regardless of entrepreneurship or not. I know you're a mentor, right?
I'm a mentor
You're a mentor.
in Athens Center for Business and Innovation of the University of Economics in Athens.
Okay, how does this go?
Goes well. There's a new batch of teams now that just started a few months ago. And yeah, one of the companies is Phasmatic, and they're doing stuff for the new web for 3D rendering. They have a lot of publications. Yeah, so it's very, very interesting, the stuff you discover, new projects.
Do you also learn from this?
Yeah, it's constant learning curve. Every product needs to be treated differently, and there's interest. So, yeah.
How do you balance work and family?
Mm,
Do you?
well, that's the most difficult part. Unfortunately, we can always do better, and I would love to be able to. But we've set the bar quite high. So both Kelly and I are super, super busy every day doing things. And yeah, our daughter is learning from that. She's with us. So, maybe she learns things a bit faster. We speak many languages. So,
But do you think that you have a balance between work and family, or you need to work a little bit more on that?
Work it.
Advice, to be honest.
Yeah, you have to work it. The startup world is difficult. So, but it's for the greater good, right? So ultimately, all goes well, and you achieve your mission, then there's good things that come with that. So, yeah. Exactly.
What is your favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur? What do you love the most of being an entrepreneur?
I love the adrenaline. Is the biggest part, really. And the adrenaline to build something either that doesn't exist or that solves a very big problem. Could be hydrosense that we do for with AI to clean marinas and ports is a huge thing. Computer vision, all of these things. So we're really interested in robotics and AI and trying to build a more sustainable future and all of these things. So
someone once told me that I want to make a startup because I want to be my own boss. And I started laughing. I said, why do you laugh? I said, because you will never be, if you have a startup, you will never be your own boss. You will always, your boss will always be each and every one of your customers. You run after the customers. You just have the time, or you think that you have the time to, now I don't feel like working, and so I'm not going to the office. I don't know how many times it happened to you. To me, I think never. Even if I didn't want to go to work, I had to do it because someone was waiting for something to be delivered, etc., etc. While if you are a 9 to 5, you just call sick. Listen, guys, today I cannot come. I'm sorry, I don't feel very well. Whatever.
yeah.
Is it true that you are not supposed to be an entrepreneur, or don't be an entrepreneur because you want to be the boss of yourself?
Well, being a boss is just as difficult as being an employee, right? Maybe the boss has got a lot more things to do. So being your own boss just puts a lot more weight on your own shoulders. So if you put it this way, yeah, the hours are really long. So being your own boss, I guess, saves you the choice of whether you're going to have breakfast and where you're going to have it and with whom. But regardless, you get up early and go to bed late. So we could call that the perks, but you could be stuck in traffic, or you would have to take a plane to go to London. So it's not as easy as it sounds.
Super. Let me check if Elsa has to ask something before we wrap up. Elsa?
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm good. It's been very, very interesting. Thanks for your time and insight, Lorenzo.
Thank you, Elsa, as well.
Lorenzo, thank you so much for your time. It was very, very, very interesting. I think that at some point we need to discuss also about all these projects that you've done for in England for NHS and the things that you're trying to do with the pharmaceutical companies. I think there are lessons there as well. You know where to find me if there is anything I can help you with. Thank you so much for the insights and your time. Thank
you too, Makimo. Of course, we'll stay in touch when we need to do more of those. So yeah, you guys have a wonderful evening, and until next time.
Thank you, Lorenzo.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.